in the Bible, olive oil was very important. It's a symbol of the Holy Spirit. So let's find out how olive oil is made. I'm with the Salah family here in Bajala, and we're talking about olives. Now, is this a family business here for crushing and pressing olives?
It's an old Christian Palestinian, we could say, a factory, and we could say it's an agricultural corporation, which was a family business in the past since 1922, and it became popular cooperative system after a while.
So has olive pressing changed since that time, since 1922?
At the beginning, it was on the diesel imported engine from England, and then it was transformed to an electric engine power.
So how many olives do you actually press a day here?
About 3 tons.
That's quite a lot, yeah?
Yeah, but it's serving the poorest of the poor, and it is serving the families which have small quantities of olives.
So what process does it take to come from the olive tree to make actual olive oil? What processes does it take?
In other words, there are 2 methods in order to press the oil. 2 methods. These 2 methods are summarized from collecting the olives from the trees and exposing it to the sun. And the second method is to bring it from the tree and to press it directly.
Now you have a crusher here. What's the crusher made of?
It is the old traditional way of crushing without using any modern apparatus or machines in order to scratch it or to make it into small pieces. This avoids the crushing of the interior part of the olive, and this makes the taste better. And as we make the wine in Europe, in the old method with crushing it with the feet, as you have seen in Europe, I mean.
Do you crush it with a stone? Is it stones?
It's stone crushing only, not to the last stage, which is making it a powder. It is not reaching that stage.
Yeah. So it reaches like a pulp then, really, does it?
It's a kind of a little bit, small particles, or how do you call it? It's not even a powder. It's the way between the solid and the powder. It's in the middle, and so it becomes more tasty.
And then you have to press the oil out of that. How do you do that?
We collect it in a small circular kind of envelopes made of, in the past it was made of lamb wool. Now it is in plastic thin threads knit all together in order to make an envelope and in order to keep the oil in its original taste.
And then you put it through a press?
And we expose it to a hydraulic system, which brings it to the top of the machine, which makes the volume smaller and smaller, and by the hydraulic pressure it goes up and it crushes the oil and press it to a certain degree of pressure, which is about 220 to 150 degrees.
So then when the oil comes out, what do you do with the oil after that?
The oil, when it comes out, it comes out mixed with a certain liquid, which we call it the zibar. The zibar is a kind of liquid which is the rubbish part of the oil juice. This zibar, it's all the residues which stays out, and it is separated by a certain machine which is the centrifuge. The centrifuge is a system which separates the oil from the zibar, which is the rubbish water, which is with the wastewater. The wastewater goes to us, and the pure oil goes up by the centrifugal force.
Does it have to be filtered, the oil?
Yeah, it is filtered by its weight. What we call its weight by the revolution of the cylindrical system, which is about 3,600 revolution by a minute, which make the heavy comes down and the less heavy goes up.
So it's able to filter off naturally.
Yeah. So when we collect it, we collect the highest part of it, and it is on the other part, which is the highest part of the machine, which is the centrifuge.
Now, I noticed when you're doing it, you're adding hot water to it. What's the hot water do to it?
The hot water helps to separate the oil from the zibar, which is the waste black residues of all the other juicy things mixed with water. In order, that the oil always floats on the top of the water. So it goes up, and we collect it when it goes up by the force of the machine.
Now, which makes the best olive oil? Is it green olives or black olives?
it doesn't matter. This is a tradition which goes far from the Roman times. Even, I mean, there was a relation between Italy and Palestine during the Roman period, and the olive trees stayed from the times of the Romans. And we have certain examples that most of the olive trees are from Roman origin. We call it Roman till now. It is about 500 years, and it could be 1,000 years.
I was just going to ask you, are there any trees here from possibly Jesus' time?
Yeah, it is possible, but I am sure that there are trees which has the age of 400 years to 500 years. It is extremely proved that it is from that time.
How many olives can actually make a liter of oil?
It depends on the region. There we have the mountainous region and we have the valley regions. And the mountainous regions are the most tasty, and the region of Bethlehem, in fact, Beit Jala is one of the best tasty olive oil liquid, and it has a certain taste which is very distinguished all over the Palestine and all over the world. And it is even more expensive. I mean, it has a certain value of price, which reaches about 700 to 800 shekels per 18 liters.
Do you actually export a lot of oil out to other countries?
We don't know for the time being, and in fact the Palestinians are trying now to export the oil to Europe and to the United States. But the percentage of the oil is from 20 to 25%, and sometimes when it is when the harvest is better, it reaches to 30 to 35% of the quantity of the olives.
Does rain and the weather actually affect the quality of the oils?
Yeah, it is better that it has less water than a lot of water, because the lot of water changes the taste of the olives.
Now here in Bethlehem, the wall has been built. Is it difficult for farmers to actually go out and pick their olives?
Yeah, it is true. I mean, certain regions are surrounded by the wall, unfortunately, and certain regions cannot reach the olive press from other villages from Palestine. In fact, it is very badly transported, and there are many obstacles from the Israeli army to stop the olive oil coming to the press, which was the old habit from all the villages surrounding Bethlehem and even Jerusalem and Ramallah and Nablus to reach Bethlehem region, because it was the tradition that this region is the most up-to-date region for olive oil and the quality.
Now, is your work here seasonal, or is it all year round?
No, it is about 1 month and a half, or 2 months in certain times. But in fact, now it is getting less and less because of the wall, first of all, and second, existence of modern technology machines, which the people do not prefer now. They are returning to old traditional system.
So October time is basically the most busiest time of the year.
Yeah, exactly. October, November, and half of December, which is Christmas time. And it is used to be that it was a feast of the olive harvest, because it is in a traditional way, it is near to the Christmas time, and the Palestinian Christians used to celebrate that inside the olive press and make a festivity out of it.
Now, once the olives have been crushed and the oil has been pressed out of it, what sort of things do you use the olive for?
Oil is a very, sacred tree. In the Bible, in the Evangel, and in all the traditions and the habits of the Palestinian people, because it is both sacred in the Muslim religion and the Christian religion. In the Christian and the Jewish religion, because it is a sacred tree and it's a sign of peace. This is the first time in which we talk about these matters. It was a habit to bring the oil from the press and give a gift to the church in order to light the candles in the Christmas time and in the Easter time, and it stays in the church all the time of the year as a sign of peace and a sign of tranquility and a sign of giving from God's gift, which is a kind of a sacrifice. The olive press used to send to the churches a quantity of oil in order to light the candles. This is the first religious consideration. The second religious consideration comes from the use of the oil in the daily life of the Palestinian life, which is making bread with oil and using the oil in breakfast, mixing it with labane, which we call it. It's a kind of dry yogurt for the year. And in the past, we used to put the labane for the whole year conserved in the oil, because the oil doesn't destroy the quality of the nutritional value of the milk, which comes from the lambs or sheep or whatever, of the cows, and it stays for the whole year. The second use is in the salad, and the most important use is with za'atar, which is the Palestinian name of oregano, which could be planted in the countryside, or it is planted in the cities now artificially. But most of the time it is with za'atar, which is the oregano.
What makes the best oil?
First of all, it has to be very concentrated from the sun, which they used to expose it to the sun and put it on the terrace, in order that the sun at least dries it and gives it its taste. This is a way in which, and some people do not advise to expose it to the sun. There are two methods, but I personally prefer that exposing a little bit, it's better, because it gets out the bad tastes of the water and the humidity from the olives if it rains.
And finally, is olive oil good for you?
I do not consume so much oil, but my family used to consume. And I wish that all the people now, scientifically speaking, the science and medicine and nutrition prove that olive oil is the best for the health, because it is without cholesterol and doesn't harm the heart or the other parts of the body, and doesn't collect or accumulate fat residues in the body.
Now, can you actually just drink olive oil like you drink a cup of water?
Certain people used to drink directly from the olive tree after crushing it, and it is better to keep it at least 3 months, and after 3 months you consume it, because it brings back its color, which could be transparent.
Okay, well, thank you very much for sharing.
Welcome.